Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba. Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba. Jimmy Kimmel Live. This is ridiculous. From his house.
Hi again, I'm Jimmy. I'm the host of the show. Greetings to those of you who joined me earlier tonight on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Thank you for watching that. We are beaming to you from my house, which is where I spend every minute of my life now. My closest friends are my pillows. If nothing else, this experience of being cooped up has taught me that I would never survive in space. 3 days into the mission, I'd be in the escape pod trying to find a Costco on the moon. This is a big day for the planet, by the way. Today is Earth Day. Today is the 50th and final Earth Day. Here in LA, not long after midnight last night, we got hit with an earthquake. I was in bed. The Earth got up early and woke everyone up like a 5-year-old on her birthday today. I will say that it was scary because the epicenter was close by. It was in town, but it was kind of refreshing to worry about being killed by something else for a change. Donald Trump celebrated Earth Day today with a shovel. The president, the first lady, and Mike and Karen Pence gathered on the South Lawn to dig a hole to bury his hair in. Look at how natural they are doing physical labor in their suits and heels. Melania is praying right now they don't dig too close to her escape tunnel. So at the planning, the second lady, Karen Pence, was asked to say a few words, and it was refreshing because finally someone in this administration is speaking truth.
While this tree makes the earth better and stronger, we talked a lot about mental health, and that's an issue that I know the First Lady has been dealing with her whole time that she's been First Lady.
Boy, has she. She's been dealing with it the whole time since she said, "I do." This is some not great news. The director of the Center for Disease Control, Dr. Robert Redfield, says there could be a second wave of the virus later this year that might be worse than this one because it would coincide with flu season. It could stretch our medical resources even thinner than they already are. Basically, he said the next version of the virus could be like the Matrix Reloaded, just as popular, but worse. But the good news is, well, there is no good news. And we're getting mixed messages from our government. Most experts say stay in your home, but our president says go get a tattoo in a bus station. And that has given rise to stay-at-home protests around the country, even though the CDC has been very clear saying Americans should avoid gatherings of any kind. The guy in charge of them seems to think they're totally fine.
People want to get back to work. And I've watched some of the protests, not in great detail, but I've seen that, and they're separated. There's a lot of space in between. I mean, they're watching, believe it or not, they're doing social distancing, if you can believe it. And they are, and they're protesting, but the groups I've seen have been very much spread out.
Sure. Look at how very much spread out these protesters in Raleigh were yesterday.
You've had 6 weeks! You've had 6 weeks! You've had 6 weeks!
Mom, stop yelling. You're embarrassing us. Do not tell me not to yell, you ungrateful little. You think these fireworks are going to sell out of the trunk of the car themselves? But as ridiculous as this president is, he's not alone. He got a run for his money today from the mayor of Las Vegas, who, well, let's put it this way. R. Kelly was watching this interview and said, this woman is nuts. Mayor Carolyn Goodman revealed her lunacy to Anderson Cooper and the whole country today. She believes that Las Vegas is ready to open the casinos now.
But you're encouraging, hundreds of thousands of people coming there in casinos, smoking, drinking, touching slot machines, breathing circulated air, and then returning home to states around America and countries around the world. Doesn't that sound like a virus petri dish? I mean, how is that
know
safe?
what it sounds like? You're being an alarmist. I'm not. I've lived a long life. I grew up in the heart of Manhattan. I know what it's like to be with subways and on buses.
So you don't believe there should be any social distancing? You don't believe that this is
Of course I believe there should be. Of course. I'm a
How do you do that in a
rational-
casino?
That's up to them to figure out. I don't own a casino.
I don't even own any books. If you watch that back, you can see the moment where Anderson's soul leaves his body. It was a long interview. She went on and on. She was like the You know that dizzy neighbor you try to pretend you don't see when you're pulling into the garage? The gist of what she was saying was, why should we treat this virus any differently from anything else?
We've had polio. We've had these horrific,
None of those were as
painful.
infectious in Las Vegas. I mean, you didn't have people with Ebola on a casino floor. You know what? If you
Well,
did,
we don't know that.
Well, yeah, you do, because if you had
A
it,
neighbor of mine died from West Nile because the swimming pool on the next property was filled with mosquitoes, and the people who had abandoned the house left the pool full.
Well, then you're right. We should reopen Vegas. Reopen the casinos and drain the pools. Somehow, she was elected last year with more than 80% of the vote in Las Vegas. And I can see why. Mayor Goodman has a lot of thoughts, and the one thing those thoughts have in common is that none of them make any sense.
How do you know until we have a control group? We offered to be a control group. Anybody who knows anything about statistics knows that, for instance, you have a vaccine.
you're
you
offering
give the real
citizens of Las Vegas to be a control group to see if your theory on social distancing works or doesn't work.
Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Don't put words in my mouth.
You just
What I
said we'll be a
was,
control
I
group.
Excuse me. What I said was, I offered to be a control group, and I was told by our statistician, you can't do that.
Come on, Anderson. She isn't offering Las Vegans as a control group. She offered them as a control group, and they told her she can't. It's totally different. Somehow, Las Vegas elected every lady you've ever seen at a Baywatch slot machine to be their mayor. Many, if not most, businesses around the country are shut down right now, but there's one establishment in Bend, Oregon, that refuses to surrender to anything.
Not even the coronavirus can stop the last blockbuster on earth. It's still open. The movie rental business is offering curbside pickup during the pandemic. Customers can call the store ahead of time, order a movie, and pull right up to the front to grab it. The store's general manager says they'll survive this challenge for the same reasons they've stayed in business all these years.
Because the men in Bend, Oregon are still horny for Shannon Tweed movies on VHS. Good for Blockbuster. If they can make it, so can we. American companies have had to make major adjustments over the past month. Every commercial now seems to be tailored to suit the coronavirus era. Car companies, restaurant chains, every business has one of these earnest, straightforward, cautiously uplifting ads now to remind customers that they are here for us now and always have been. This one I thought was particularly effective.
Right now, we're facing uncertain times. None of us know what challenges lie ahead. But one thing's for sure, Americans stand strong. When it's time for us to band together, we do. When it's time to lend a hand, we lend too. Americans get the job done with a little boost from Beast Blast Power Energy Drink. Together, we'll meet this crisis and beat it with a blast of the beast.
New flavor, man glow in the dark. Kill it with the beast.
All right, we are going to take a break, but when we come back, it will be Hammer Time with the God of Thunder, Chris Hemsworth.